Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and here in a very kind of downturn period of the channel, guys. A lot of the phones that I was meant to review this week are still on hold. The border is shut down with China, and I'm still waiting on a number of these units to come, including the Mi 10. Stay tuned. I appreciate all the patience for that, but definitely not going into a quarantine situation just to get phones. But in the meantime, I still have some of these great phones that I've been testing previously, and this, I guess you can count as my upcoming 3-week review of the Galaxy A71. I've had this now for coming up to 3 weeks, and how has my time been with this phone? This Galaxy A71 has been a joy to use. Now, yes, the plastic back and kind of the plastic build quality has been the real negative, and I really only notice it, though, whenever I take the actual case off the phone. I typically keep the case on most of my phones, and because of that, I don't use them like this. But when I do take this out, you compare it to the experience of, let's say, something like the Realme X2 Pro, and that just has a far more premium feel. But that's the thing, guys, when you're using these phones, you keep them in the case, you won't notice that. But what you will notice is the gorgeous 6.7-inch display, and it is just still as beautiful as the day I got it. Super AMOLED Plus display. Now, I've had a few questions about what's the difference between AMOLED Plus and AMOLED. It's with the pixel layout itself. So I think this is using an RGB pixel layout, which means it's a lot sharper than your typical AMOLED displays. That's a real win here for this Galaxy A71. In terms of processor, obviously we have the Snapdragon 730, and it is not having any issues whatsoever. In fact, I've gotten a few software updates. It has just gotten even smoother than it was before. And like I said, look, Geekbench scores aren't the most amazing, but they're still very much in line with what you saw from the Mi 9T, Pocophone F1, but a bit higher than the Galaxy S8, S9. Now, in terms of audio, that's probably the one nitpick I think that this phone could have done better at. The audio quality is okay from the bottom speaker, but you do have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack to use as well. And the other thing I've been actually using with this phone is the Galaxy Fit. And this is the first time I've actually switched out of my Mi Fit Band, the Mi Band 4, to use the Galaxy Fit. It's been a really nice little piece of tech that I've been using, and it's been linked to this phone because this is the only Samsung phone I have at the moment, and so that's also been a nice additional feature. And I've also been using the Galaxy Buds with this A71. If you're in the Samsung ecosystem, just works seamlessly. In terms of camera, this has gone on some of my hikes. You might have seen some of the shots. Just really good quality coming out of this Samsung GW1 sensor with a quad camera setup. You have some really great wide angle shots, I think, also with this. And so I think camera quality has been one of the highlights of using this phone. And 3 weeks in, it's just getting better and better with each software update. And battery life has been fairly solid, lasting me easily 6+ hours of screen on time. 60 Hz refresh rate here though. So that's just something that unfortunately is not going to compete with some of the phones coming out in 2020 with the 90 Hz refresh rates. But it's such a beautiful display, I can look past it at this point for this Galaxy A71. So I think, 3 weeks in, and now this phone is becoming more readily available. Is it a phone that you want to consider? Are there other phones that are coming out? We now have the S20 series that is out. It's at a different price point, guys. And I think if you're comparing that to this, it's like a non-comparison. Clearly, the S20 series is just far superior. But another question I've had, interestingly, are the other series that have now been released, like the Galaxy Note Lite and S10 Lite series, and those Galaxy series are kind of more in the construction and the look of this A71. And in fact, I had a chance to play recently with my in-laws Galaxy Note 10 Lite, and that phone, it definitely was almost like the premium version of this phone. But the one thing I immediately noticed was that the display quality was exactly the same, and the display size was the same too. So if you do value better performance with that improved Exynos 9810, you value a metal edge, because it's the same plastic on the back. It's not glass, and I hope it's not the same that they're using on the Galaxy Z Flip, but that's a whole nother story. That S10 Lite and Note 10 Lite can be viable options. The other options from Samsung camp that I think are also viable are reduced price S10 series. And Samsung has stated they will keep the S10 series on for another year, just at reduced prices, so you should be able to pick up an S10e or a Galaxy S10 Plus for a far reduced price. Even still though, I don't think they hit the price to performance ratio of the Galaxy A series. That includes the A51 and the A71. A friend recently asked me he wanted to pick up a secondary smartphone Android phone for use, and I showed him this Galaxy A71, but he kind of thought it was a bit big. I'm a big phone person, but I think the Galaxy A51 may be the sweet spot for a lot of you guys, and it's also 1,000 Hong Kong dollars or a good $100 US cheaper. It brings a lot of the same benefits, maybe just a slightly slower processor, but generally speaking, those two I'd say are the best recommendations in terms of Samsung mid-range phones that you can make in early 2020. But I'm a big phone guy, and for my needs, this Galaxy A71 has been a joy to use, and I definitely have enjoyed keeping it this period of time. But stay tuned, obviously, Samsung has released some pretty expensive phones recently. I probably will only be able to pick one of those up. We'll see. Galaxy Z Flip or Galaxy S20 Ultra. Hit me up in the comments. Which of those two Samsung phones would you want to see on the channel more? Anyways, that's it for this quick one. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for future updates. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to try to have some sort of content here as we wait for some of these phones from China to come. It's a tough time. And you know what though, guys, I would rather still be out here than be in lockdown in China. No phone review, no being first on a phone is really worth your health and your family's health. And honestly, guys, I am a family man. I got a wife and a kid. And for you guys who know what that's like, you know that that's very important. Health is the most important thing. So, you know, kudos to those who want to take the risk, but that's not a risk I'm willing to take. And that's the truth here on Frankie Tech. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech, signing off. Have a good one.